If you look at the data, if you see all of these politicians before they were in office and after, you will see that their bank account skyrocketed. Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to the Freestyle podcast. I am Nadia Gillmore and today we are going to be doing a deep dive into one of the most polarizing person in American politics, Hillary Clinton. Now, if you love her or you hate her, this book, Guilty as Sin by Edward Klein, it paints a very revealing portrait of her. So let's get into it. So this video is going to be breaking down the key claims, controversies, and statistics related to Clinton's political career and the extreme accusations and allegations made in this book. So let's get into it. Now, before we get into the claims and accusations outlined in Guilty as Sin, it's very important for us to understand Hillary Clinton, where she comes from, who she is, and then I'm going to briefly explain her political career since she has been in politics for over 4 decades. So let's first do that. Hillary Diane Rodham Clinton was born in 1947 in Chicago, Illinois, into a middle-class family. She attended college, graduating in 1969, and then went on to Yale Law School. That's where she met her future husband, Bill Clinton. From the start, Hillary was known for her intelligence, drive, and commitment to public service. Her career officially began as a young lawyer advocating for children's rights and legal aid, but she quickly rose to national prominence as First Lady of Arkansas, and later when Bill Clinton became the 42nd President of the United States in 1993. As the First Lady of the United States from 1993 to 2001, Hillary Clinton was far more than a ceremonial figure. She led ambitious policies efforts, most notable pushing for healthcare reform, a monumental but ultimately unsuccessful attempt to create universal healthcare in the 1990s. This early experience demonstrated her resilience and willingness to tackle complex policy challenges, but it also marked the beginning of her polarizing public image. Her political career took a turn when she was elected as a U.S. Senator from New York in 2000, becoming the first former First Lady to win elective office. In the Senate, she championed issues like national security, economic development, and support for the 9/11 first responders, earning respect for her work ethic and policy knowledge. In 2008, she sought the Democratic nomination for president, but was narrowly defeated by Barack Obama. Instead of retreating, she was appointed Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013. In 2016, she became the Democratic nominee for president, making history as the first woman to do so from a major party. Now, Edward Klein's book, Guilty as Sin, is an investigative piece that dives into Hillary Clinton's alleged abuse of power and trail of corruption. Now, the book claims, I wrote them down. There are like 3 main claims that I want to go over. So, the first one was Clinton was involved in efforts to cover up the truth in Benghazi's attacks. In the Benghazi attack, where 4 Americans died in 2012. Klein points out, Klein, I feel like I'm saying his last name wrong, so I'm not trying to be disrespectful when I go by Edward, because I'd rather say your first name correct than being respectful and saying your last name incorrect. So I'm going to say Edward, sorry. I say alleged because none of them were technically proven true, even though we kind of know it did happen, but we have to legally say allegedly, even though, because we don't have all the receipts, even though we do have a lot, well, I don't, but they have a lot of evidence against her, even the FBI. It just went away. So we have to use the word alleged. So just imagine me doing this every time I say the word alleged. So there were 3 main claims that I wanted to go over. I don't know how she's not locked up. Reading this book, I'm just so dumbfounded that she is not in prison, which I'm so tired of. Oh, they're on the list, we're draining the swamp, and then they do nothing. Like, if you're not locking people up, I don't care. I really don't. If they're not getting arrested, stop telling me that they did something wrong, because we already know that. Anyways, let's go over the 3 main claims. Sorry. So Clinton was involved in efforts to cover up the truth in the Benghazi attack, where 4 Americans died in 2012. Klein points to suspicious emails being deleted and inconsistent testimonies. Now, according to the House Select Committee on the Benghazi's 2016 report, Hillary's team failed to properly protect the compound and misled the public afterwards. Now, the second one is the book alleges that Clinton misused the Clinton Foundation for personal enrichment that shows millions being donated with questionable receipts. So, in the 2015, the New York Times reported that foreign governments donated millions during Hillary's time as Secretary of State, raising conflict of interest concerns. This is 100% fraud. It's simple as a quick example. It's as if I am raising money for a cancer patient, but the money never goes to the cancer patient, and I keep the money. It's simple as that. It's illegal to do something like that, because if you're going to tell the public that, oh, this foundation is for so-and-so and so, and blah, 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 and then you don't put the money towards that, and there is legal evidence, like receipts, we can see it in your data that you didn't send any money towards this foundation, and it's going straight into your bank account, that is completely illegal. And especially if you are a sitting congressman or woman, and she was the Secretary of State, which is a higher position, so it is completely illegal. But supposedly they don't have enough evidence to lock her up for that. You know what's crazy was her husband could technically pardon her because he was a sitting president. That's so crazy. Anyways, the third claim was that Edward highlights the controversies about Hillary's use of private email server, which the FBI investigated and concluded that classified information had been transmitted insecurely. The FBI Director James Comey said in his July 2016 statement that Clinton and her team were extremely careless, but recommended no charges. And this was in 2016. I'm trying to think. That was, okay, so yeah, that was the same year that she was running as president against Donald Trump. So, I don't know how she could run for president when she has so much against her and so much evidence, but then he decides to let it go. No charges. I actually noted on page 4, this thing is there is so much in this book. It's just 200 and some pages. You can read it easily in a sitting, but it's just, there's so much. Even, hold on, there's a page I want to go to because it mentioned the FBI director. And this is what she said about him. I think she was speaking to her assistant. Page 4. I don't know if it was her assistant, who it was, I forgot, but when he was investigating her, she was very upset, and she said Comey would end up like all the other Clinton enemies, and how did Bill's impeachment work for those mother effers? Yeah, she also was notorious for cussing a lot, which was funny because during her and Trump's debates and their back and forth whatevers, she was constantly mentioning she was constantly mentioning how Donald Trump swore way too much and it was inappropriate. And if you're going to be a president, you shouldn't be speaking that way. And there she is speaking, cussing constantly. Let me see if I can find it, but hold on. This book, I could not stop laughing. I'm thinking, okay, and she's working for the American people. It's weird. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Vulgar mouth. It says here are some choice examples from well-researched books of Hillary's vulgar mouth. There's 4 points. And these aren't just like, there's one where she's like, let Comey bring it on, and then she said, bring the bull on. And I'm thinking, okay, that's not as bad, but she's dropping the F-bomb, like, extreme cuss words constantly. It's ridiculous. I can't find it. It basically says, whatever. I can't find it, but it basically said how she was always cussing. But there was a way he worded it. But there's also a part in the book where he says she would have these meetings and people would leave crying. How? I'm just thinking, I get it, but I don't. Because if my boss or anyone was upset with me, yelling at me, I don't know if it's just because I have more of a thick skin and it doesn't bother me. It's like whatever. And I get some people might be a little more sensitive, but these aren't just because I'm 18 years of age. It would make sense if someone was yelling at me and I started crying. We're not technically emotionally intelligent in the sense of being able to compose yourself emotionally, but as people that work with her, these are people that are in between the age of 30 to 50, I would say. The youngest possibly 20 something, but at that age you would think you wouldn't cry. But how brutal was she that she was seriously making people cry? It's crazy. So that was that was a part in the book I wanted to point out. Now the third segment is the legal battles and investigation. I'm so uncomfortable. My chair is super uncomfortable. Like I said, I don't know how she was running for president when she had all of these serious investigations against her. Now, I know you're going to come back at me and be like, well, so was Donald Trump. But here's the thing. Donald Trump was being pressed for sexual harassment before he was president. And because his first term, I don't think there was anything he did. There obviously wasn't anything that he did that was illegal where they were pressing charges against him. But Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State and her husband was the sitting president when these are charges. The thing she's being charged for is when she was in office and what she did in office. The things that Donald Trump was being charged for, I'm going to actually ask my best friend, ChatGPT. I want to fact check everything. I don't want to be saying things that are not correct. So my computer's dying crap. Let me ask chat. What was Donald Trump being charged I spelled that incorrect, for in, let's say 2024, and yeah, we're gonna just do 2024 because that was the time. Okay, because that was the time that he was being charged. I just want to clarify, ChatGPT is super left. If I ask it a question about Kamala Harris, it's giving her praise. Anything about Donald Trump, it's coming down on him, diminishing him, belittling him. I'm being completely honest because I have done this before, so it's very left. So this is probably not the best. I'm gonna actually go to Grok and ask the same thing. I look up Grok 3, even though it's technically just Grok. I don't know why I do that. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT and Grok the same question, because I do believe that Chat is super left. So charges 34, okay, blah, blah, blah. So prosecutors say Trump made a $130,000 hush money payment to Stormy Daniels in 2016. Wait, 2016. And then, okay, legal expenses. So this was before he was president, because even though you are, the results comes in November 2nd or 3rd, depends how late the votes come in. No, it's like the first Tuesday in November, whatever day that is. Even though it's official on who's the president, you don't become president until January 20th the following year. So it says 2016. He wasn't in office. So it makes a difference, because it's much more serious when you are in office working for the American people and you are doing a bunch of illegal stuff. So there's a big difference in my eyes. But hey, I am super open to having a discussion about it, as long as you guys keep it civil and respectful dialogue is what I appreciate. So if you guys think, no, it's still a big problem, then put that down in the comments down below, and I would love to speak to you guys about that. Potentially make a video if it's a huge problem. But for the most part, there is a difference in my eyes. So let's continue. It says what Donald Trump did. There's a difference between covering up killing American troops and then interfering in the election because it was rigged, because it was. And then we have another one, which is Georgia State. So all of these are basically about the 2020 election for some reason. So there's hush money, and then the federal election, and then the election in Georgia and Arizona, which was basically the same thing. But since he interfered, they were saying it's a conflict of interest. Whatever. Okay, so let's go to Grok. Okay, Grok says the same thing. Okay, so Donald Trump pleaded not guilty. That kind of makes a difference in a way. I mean, I don't think anyone actually pleads guilty. So he was sentenced January 10th in 2025, earlier this year. And all the other stuff, there's 2 cases still in progress, 1 still pending, and 2 are closed. And then the New York hush money, he has been convicted and sentenced. So he gave someone hush money. What for? No prison time, kind of figured, or probation, or fined, but remains a convicted felon. Wait, that is so interesting. So he doesn't have to pay a fine, he doesn't go to jail or prison, and then he isn't on probation. Like, I've never seen a case like that. That's pretty weird. It's just, you're a convicted felon. You have a label now. I keep looking at my monitor. I keep forgetting to look at the camera. I don't want to repeat this. $130,000 payment made in 2016 to Stormy Daniels, an adult film actress, to keep her from publicly discussing a sexual encounter. Wait, isn't she that blonde? But when was the sexual encounter? Was in 2006. Like I said, I'm not saying what you did when you did it is right. Yeah, it is that blonde. But I'm saying it makes a difference when you did it, because Hillary Clinton, being the wife of the first president and also Secretary of State, and then she makes all of these problems and convicts, what's the word I'm looking for? She commits these crimes, there's a difference than when she was a college student or a whatever. Before her husband became president, she started getting into politics. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. And if you don't think so, then there's a problem. So, okay, so he sexually touched her. Not saying it's okay. Not saying he did or didn't. I don't know. Supposedly he did. But it makes a difference. And now she's coming back 10 years later, and none of this was completely settled till earlier this year. But he's not paying her. He's not on probation. He's not going to prison. I mean, he's just gonna get a label as a convicted felon. I don't know, but I feel like that's just not how the system works. You either get, like, whatever, but okay. That makes a massive difference because that was back in 2006. I was about to say, I heard about that. My mom was speaking about it, but I didn't know all the details, so I don't know why she took so long to say something about it. So that's kind of where I go, well, was it really? Because he was pretty rich. So if you're gonna say, well, she was just waiting until he had money, it's like, bruh, he's been a billionaire for a while now. Or she just wants popularity, because that's pretty common. Or if you're gonna use a joke, oh, she just needs to find her voice. I'm not gonna, no. 10 years it took you to find your voice. If I really want to be honest in what I'm thinking, she's paid to say, hey, you did this. And he probably did, but it makes a huge difference, like I said. So, that was the legal battles. I wasn't even supposed to be speaking about Trump. It was supposed to be Hillary, so now let's go into Hillary's legal battles and investigations. Now, the FBI probes, okay. You know what? I'm not even going to look at my papers anymore. I'm just going to be on my computer because this is so much easier. So let's go into, so Hillary's legal battles and investigations, and one of it was her email servers was one of the most high profile, despite the recommendations to not prosecute, and it was seriously damaged by public trust. So I'm going to ask Grok. I kind of switched back and forth from Grok and ChatGPT just to make sure they're both pretty consistent and they're not pushing towards one thing or bias, basically. I'm going to ask Grok, didn't Hillary bleach her computer's hard drive? Because I heard something about Hillary bleaching her computer. So it says the claims that Hillary Clinton bleached her computer's hard drive, stems from the 2016 investigation into her use of private email server while serving as Secretary of State. Here's a summary based on available facts. So okay, so it says bleach allegations. The term bleach refers to the use of software tool called BleachBit, which Clinton's IT staff reportedly used to securely wipe data from the server to prevent recovery of deleted files. This was documented in FBI reports, which noted that BleachBit was used after March of 2015. So bleach, not the actual liquid substance, but it says it's a software tool that basically wipes your data. That's what she had used, and it was called BleachBit. That makes a huge difference because this entire time I thought it was the actual liquid substance bleach that she was just pouring into a container and then she placed her computer into it. So that makes a big difference. So in July of 2016, the FBI Director James Comey concluded that while Clinton's handling of classified information was extremely careless. There was no evidence of criminal intent to warrant charges. The FBI recovered some deleted emails but found no proof that the wiping was done to conceal criminal activity. So there wasn't enough evidence. So the book discusses allegations surrounding the 2016 election, including the claims that Clinton's campaign and the DNC allegedly worked to undermine Bernie Sanders during the primaries. So WikiLeaks exposed emails that revealed staff discussions about parties, favoritism, and this raised questions about democratic fairness within her party. So she supposedly was working with someone to put Bernie Sanders down during the time because he was like her opponent because she wanted to be president. Didn't work out for you, Hillary. I'm sorry. The most iconic photo of Bernie is him with those gigantic mittens, and he's just sitting. I think he might be actually like this. I don't know if you can see me, but he's got his hands like this. And he looks bitter. He looks like peed off all the time. Let me see if I can find Bernie with the mittens. Yeah. He looks like a Pixar character. I don't know why he'd be sitting like that. It looks so uncomfortable. Yeah, I gotta save that image. Maybe I should make that my screen cover. If you look at this is my screen for my computer. Me and my brother, we do the most random things. Maybe I might change that. I have to send that to him. But yeah, maybe I won't have to add. I'll just show you guys. That's the picture of Bernie. He looks so bitter. Okay, so let's move on to her impact and legacy. So despite all of this, Hillary's impact is undeniable. She broke glass ceilings for women in politics and championed causes like healthcare reform and children's rights. But Guilty as Sin challenges the narrative of her story as a purely progressive icon by emphasizing alleged abuse of power and ethical lapses. Now, Edward argues that Hillary's legacy is tainted by a pattern of deception, cover-ups, and a hunger for power that undermines public trust. When Edward says that she had a hunger for power, I don't think that people truly grasp what that means. Her hunger for power was extremely immense. It was insane. Truly check out this book. If you are a Democrat, read this book. I am a conservative, but I'm not being biased. I'm being honest. You need to see both sides of a person. You can't just see the good side and ignore the bad. You need to have different perspectives of a being, because if you think that they're all good all the time, that is extremely dangerous. And we need to have different voices. We can't just keep echoing the same words and the same things over and over to ourselves. We have to have different perspectives on people and the economy and politics and society. So definitely check out this book if you want to better understand all of these allegations and accusations about her. And it'll make you think differently. Maybe not, maybe, but check it out and see what it's about. Now, if you're a Republican or a conservative, and if you want to understand her background a little bit more, definitely check out the book. Now, this isn't a sponsor. None of my videos are. It's just I had a lot on my mind since I was reading that book, and I've been wanting to do a video about it, and I finally found time to sit down, because this episode is going to be a lot longer than my normal ones. And there's just so much information, and I want to make sure that it's true. I'm not just saying, I'm not being biased and being like, oh, she's terrible, she's bad, but I have no proof. Because when I was speaking of Donald Trump, I was also saying, oh, this is what he's charged for and why he was charged for that, what came out of it. So I believe that we need to put information out there that is correct and not super biased. Because you don't see transparency in her, but you see a strong leader. And how do we balance that out in American politics? Because we're needing both. I believe we have that in Trump. I have a lot of faith in Trump, so I just hope he does not let me down. Now, his retarded friend Elon definitely has many times. But, I mean, we all kind of saw that coming. I hope they get back together. that breakup was possibly the saddest breakup ever. But I'm sick and I feel like crap. So basically, I kind of have this new thing that I'm doing on my podcast. I used to talk about anything and everything. I didn't really have a structure. So my structure is I find a problem. I see the history of the problem, how we kind of got here, where we are currently with this problem, and what we can do in the future to fix problems like this and to fix the current problem. So with my take on Hillary Clinton, we see a strong leader. We see someone that is willing to fight for any goal that she has, but we don't see much transparency, and we don't see her working for the American people. Everything is self work, because anything she does, such as the Clinton Foundation, it was going straight into her pockets. Because if you look at the data, if you see all of these politicians before they were in office and after, you will see that their bank account skyrocketed, and it's disgusting. It is not constitutional. If you want to make bank, you can't be doing it by cheating the American people. So how do we balance the need for a strong leader but also transparency? That is basically the main question here, and honestly the answer is cleaning out the system. We say this multiple times. We need to get new leaders in Congress, and someone that's willing to fight for the American people, because they love America, they love the people of America, and they want to better the country and not themselves. So we need selfless, God-fearing people in Congress. I believe that's really the only way that we can fix this current issue. Clinton, I don't think Hillary is in office. I don't think she's in office in any position right now officially. So thank God. Thank God she lost. I think she lost by a lot more than what she thought, because it looked like, if you looked at the polls, it definitely looked like she was gonna win. I had a political diary since I was 8, and when Donald Trump was running for president, my mom had printed out the states, and we had colored in the different counties. If they were Democrat, we color them in blue. If they were red, Republican, we would color them in red. I think I still have that, but yeah, it definitely looked like she was gonna win. Thank God she did not. And I know I'm trying to create a platform that isn't super biased, because I'm wanting to put out information that I know both sides can come and listen to and know that I'm telling the truth, even though I'm gonna be telling the truth no matter what. But man, I do not like Hillary whatsoever. I think this is the second book I have of her. I have the Armageddon. And that one is Hillary versus Trump, and how Trump's gonna beat Hillary. So that's a little different. So anyways, that is the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate that, and I will see you guys next Tuesday and Saturday. I will be uploading 2 videos a week, and this has been on my mind lately. I appreciate you guys tuning in to listen to me speak. I do have a Spotify account, so it'll be in the link down below if you want to check that out. And if you enjoyed this video and you enjoy deep discussions about politics and society, definitely hit the bell button, and you can get subscribed to my channel and notified. Honestly, you don't need to hit the bell button, you just have to hit the subscribe button. That's the only one that truly matters, unless you don't want to miss a video, then hit the bell button. I appreciate you guys being here, and you guys have a great day or evening or whatever time you're getting this. Goodbye.